acknowledgement of country, and then I'll explain where we're at. So Powering Skills Organisation acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respect to the elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. And thank you for coming along. And look, I'll just give there's our agenda for today. But look, I think we'll keep where we're at pretty casual. We've only got, besides our PSO people on board, we've only got 4 other people here. So, and I think we all know each other. Yeah, so look, we can do some welcomes and introductions, but does anybody not know anybody on the call? Has everyone met everyone before? No one yelling out there. And then we'll do some updates on the full UEE if need be. We'll have a look at some project submissions, which is probably the important part for this meeting. Matters for discussion open to the floor. But I suppose, and we can move on with the slides there. Thanks, Rach. But I'm not sure if I really need to go into an update on for the UEE, Paul. I think Rihanna, Jakes and Sarah are probably pretty much all over where we're at with the UEE.
Yep.
I'm not sure about you, Paul, but I'm not sure that the UEE, I suppose the crust of it is we're doing a full UEE review at the moment. A lot of that probably doesn't cross over to the UEG too much at all. I don't think there's too many imported units from UEE that actually go into UEG. I suppose the only thing probably to be aware is that we're looking at redoing the WHS unit. It'll be a bit more relevant and updated, but yeah, there's probably in the UEG space, there's probably not a lot to note within that UEE full training package review, unless you got any questions about it, Paul, in particular, or anybody else who might be on the call there. But
no, I'm good, mate. Thank you.
Yeah. And look, and if you do, there was that QR code there to go back or just jump onto our website. But I suppose the big one for this one is that we are putting in our next lot of project submissions, and I think they've just gone into DUA, where we're going to be looking at the UEG, the UET, and the UEB. So yes, it will be another big year for PSO, but that's nothing new. And I suppose what we want to try and do is to, I suppose, with this group, what we need to be doing is that when we do this project and when we get it underway, we will need to go through the technical committee process, which means putting together a technical committee, going out to all our stakeholders and all that. And with 3, 4, 5 people on the call, it's not going to get us where we need to be. So I suppose the task with PSO and the task with the other people on the line is we need to have a bit of a think about how we can get more people involved within our UEG. And of course, PSO are going to be going out and going crazy to get more people, involved. And we met with Paul Rian the other day, and we've got some names and some organisations to follow up there. We're going back into our databases to have a look at who was involved in our UEG tags previously when we used to run them. And what we'll also do is we'll do a bit of an analysis, if you like. What we'll do is we'll try and do a fact-finding mission. We'll put together, with the help of everyone here, a bit of a survey that we can spread wide and far with a whole lot of questions around UEG, some workforce questions, some training package questions, whatever it whatever we think would be good to go out to that wider industry group, and then to entice people back into this space. Um, we did have, I think, at the peak in the last year or so, we did have there's about 15, 16 people that were regularly turning up to the UEG tag. So we did have some interest there. I know through those tag meetings, there was some discussion around, we reviewed the UEG training package back in 2022, 2023. They actually, and I've looked at the package quite a lot. They actually did a pretty good job of getting it sorted and what they wanted within that. So maybe that's one reason why um, we don't have a huge amount of interest. But in saying that, we're talking 3 or 4 years. Um, and in our industries, things change a little bit within that time frame. Obviously, our theory behind everything, sort of stays the same. But there are some changes in technologies and some new things on the market. We had a little look, and I think Paul mentioned this the other day when we were chatting about hydrogen and how there was a big flurry of all the states and territories that were trying to get their hydrogen infrastructure up, and these big plants that were going in. I know, being from South Australia, I know there was the biggest one going in the southern hemisphere in one of our regional cities that didn't quite get underway, and I think there was another one in Queensland that was along the same line. So, but I do believe they are still plodding around in the background, and there is still some movement in the hydrogen space. Another one was within the biofuels that we had a little bit of a look into. So I do know Victoria are moving pretty rapidly in that area and some of those biofuels. And again, I know some of that biofuel stuff is done on site within the industries that they actually use them, and they're not potentially distributing that biogas further, but it might be something that we need to look at. So, um, yeah, that's the kind of things we need to be looking at. Don't know if anyone's got any thoughts, any comments.
Phil,
Yeah.
have you done a latest check on the commencement numbers for UEG?
Yes, I have.
Has it been? Are we in double figures yet?
So I haven't checked. We got the 2024 numbers, and there was 5 within the Cert 3. So
I
yeah,
think
no, we haven't got that.
that reflects through the tag as to, I mean, if this was a PMA discussion, we would have many more people.
Yeah, yeah. And
Uh,
look, yeah, and I mean, maybe, that's a discussion that we need to have with the stakeholders as we get more stakeholders on board. Maybe that's a discussion we need to have. Like, is there support to continue supporting a UEG qualification? Is the PMA, is that their space?
I just had a look on TGA and the UEG. It looks like there's almost 100, if not more, RTOs got it on
Yeah,
scope,
yeah,
but it's just
yeah.
having it on scope. I don't think anyone's delivering it. There's no,
No,
so, but if you look
yeah,
on PMI, their
yeah.
numbers is massive.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, I know, and exactly. And if
so
we go down to,
what's the
we,
future of the UEG?
yeah, yeah, pretty much. And then, with some of these qualifications like the Cert 2, they've just dropped off those funding lists as well because,
Yeah,
and the Cert 4s because, why are you going to have it on a funded list if no one's undertaking those qualifications? So,
uh, we scrapped the set 3 of our funding list in Queensland, I think last year,
right.
because of no commencements.
Yeah.
We did add this hydrogen safety skill set to the funding list, though, but we haven't had any commencement in that one either. So
yeah, I think I did look at the skill set, and I reckon there was about 90 enrollments in 2024. So
yeah,
that hydrogen skill set does get used, but and there's a good point. So we also get a lot of confusion between where the UEG sits, and most people know that we're upstream of the meter, as they call it, and the downstream, and build skills are doing work within hydrogen and
right,
gas and all that.
yeah,
Maybe if it was sitting within their space, you mentioned PMA, but maybe it sits in build skills, and then they have more interest because they're talking to plumbers, to gas fitters, to all those sorts of people. So no, I think there's some of the questions. I think we're going to try and get together like a real, industry analysis, and get out to that wider stakeholder group, and ask those exact questions. And we had WA involved in our earlier tags, and Michael admitted that they take on the odd apprentice here or there, usually a mature age apprentice,
mm,
and they're usually RPL'd. If they want or need the qualification, they're usually RPL'd, across in most of the units to compensate. So it's it's a really interesting one on how we go with that. And in our other tags as well, we talk about the internal training that takes place, and around the licensing. And Paul, you just mentioned that. Come on, you had some questions about licensing, but is it right to say that Paul, there's no licensing requirement for those upstream providers? Is there anything in that space, or?
No, because it falls outside of the plumbing regulations, if you like. But
Yeah.
all the regulations seem to be inwards of the meter, of the gas meter.
Yeah. Yeah. So it comes back to, that thing was, if you don't have to do that qualification,
Yeah.
why would you do those
yeah,
qualifications? And the companies that are training, and I believe there's 4 or 5. That be right again? Trying to you, Paul, 4 or 5.
Yeah, there's not many producers, distributors out there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's not a great deal. Most of the work tends to be done by contractors as well. Don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Yeah.
we say that there are road digging crews and mains replacement crews out there that are just subcontract labour.
Yeah. 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 No. Yeah, so it leaves us, and I just saw Nigel and Jess pop in. Welcome. For those people that might not know, Nigel and Jess are from our industry engagement team. You'll notice that PSO are almost outnumbering our guests today as well.
I think almost left before we got in here, Phil.
yeah. Apologies for being late.
No, that's all right. Because of the number, we're just having a bit of a conversation. It's a bit less formal than our normal tags, and we're just going to try and nut out a little bit a way forward to find out if we can get a whole lot more people involved into the UEG tag. It's always been hard within this space to get the stakeholders involved. I know Queensland have a industry reference group with some gas people in. Rian?
Yeah, I just wanted to say hi. I'm Rianne and I work for Energy Skills Queensland. And we've got Jake's here, who's our industry advisor, I guess, around the gas stuff in our Energy Skills Queensland. When we met on the other day, we discussed inviting some of the TAG, the ITAB contact lists. And what we did was we sent it out to our IRGs, didn't we, Jakes? And we also are utilising the Skill Pass connection that we have with some of the gas organisations we have there. I think the biggest struggle we're having with the UEG is that, like you said, no one's training in it. So therefore, no one is looking to review it. But I think if there is a level of engagement from the PSO with the ITABs, and then the ITABs can distribute that information out to their cohorts, maybe you'll get uptake. I think it was because it was so last minute from us, from ESQ too. So just food for thought. Maybe we need to revisit how we utilize our ITABs to help share, distribute the PSO's meetings, just for the UEG especially, because you get a lot of uptake with the UEE and all the rest of it. But yeah, maybe just a bit of a advisory on how you'd like us to assist in that engagement process.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have those. We have a regular meeting with the ITABs, SROs, and regulators and that sort of thing. So I think absolutely we'll put it onto our agenda and try and
the gas is tricky. It always has
get
been, right?
there.
Yeah, it's tricky for us, but Jake's gets pretty good uptake, don't you, Jake's? Like for what we've tried to build, you get enough.
But yeah, it is a struggle otherwise.
It is struggle street.
Nigel.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. We were just talking about this earlier. So, Ryan, yeah, absolutely. One of the things that we're going to be doing is going through Energy Networks Australia and the Australian Gas Pipeline Association.
Great, awesome.
So we're going to reach out to them, have a conversation with them, try and get them a little bit engaged, try and work with them to get stuff so that they can send it out to their membership as well. So do a little bit of a drum to try and get that happening. Makes it really hard because, gas is still going to be part of the solution moving forward in a net zero environment to get that pathway. We know that. As a country, we've had some really tricky experience around hydrogen recently. So there's that a lot of people are still trying to kind of get over. So there's a couple of headwinds there that we've got to be realistic about dealing with. But it doesn't mean that we don't move forward with this one. So we'll be reaching out in addition to the hand that, Ryan and Jake's, you'll give us through ESQ and the work that you do and the groups that you've got. We'll reach out to those associations too and try and engage their support and get them to work with us as well.
That's good. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And as I was saying, just before you come on, Nigel, I think the way forward, we've had a lot of success within the HVAC area in going out and doing that analysis and survey and meeting face to face as well. We're really diving into those areas. So I'm thinking that we need to put together a real, almost like that analysis and with a I'm trying to think of the word for the document that we put together, but putting something together to going out to all those stakeholders and really putting some questions in there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of front end work that we can do. So in PSO, industry engagement, working with our research and policy team, there's a lot that we can do to get something together that's a bit of a front end to this, to just kind of go, where's the industry at the moment? What are some of the pressures? What are some of the things that, they're hearing? And we can, unashamedly, we can elicit the assistance of Claude or Copilot or whatever AI flavor you want to give us some help in this regard. We're not averse to doing that. So we can do that to get some background material together. We then need to test that with people. So it's not as if we're going to do that and then out into the marketplace it goes. That just gives us a start. So they're things that we can do internally to try and get a perspective around where are things at, where are things going, what's the current state, and then use that as a bit of a base to move forward in an engagement perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess that first question in that thought bubbles, how do you keep UEG relevant? That's probably the main thing that needs to be answered. Is if industry wants it, and if it's relevant to industry, then why is industry not supporting it? So
you know what? It's the golden question, hey Jakes, that we
That
all
is.
we every time
Yeah.
we meet together, we have the same conversation, and I just
Yeah.
really look forward to hearing it from those who are actually employing these people in this industry to go, what is the shortfall of the UEG package that you wouldn't use it, and or what is your pathway, and is it plumbing, and if that's the case, is there what does that look like? And but yeah,
Yeah.
we need that. We need that in the room for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree there, because they also talk about the need for new workers, workers
Yeah.
moving into the gas space.
I know.
As
So the
Nigel said,
how are you
we've
doing
got
it?
we've got 10, 20, 30 years that we're going to be using gas for. It's not going away.
Yeah.
No matter how much renewable we got.
Yeah.
We need the quick fire gas, and even for importing, and that's probably an area that we can look at as well, that we need to, there's a lot of people who, mine this stuff and off-sell it, and that's probably part of the area that we're in that distribution as well. So yeah.
Hey, I spoke to a gentleman from AGIG, and he just couldn't come today, so I'll just keep following that up, and
hopefully
if we can get another meeting maybe sooner rather than later and get some traction around it, we might be able to get some of those skill pass clients in the room to help sort of answer some of these questions.
Yeah.
And I think, we all know what's happening at the moment with the global energy supply. So when you actually look at that, that's going to have an impact on a whole range of behaviours at an industry level as well as at an individual consumer level. And we're only at the very early stages of that yet. So, to underscore Phil's issue, gas is going to be a part of the mix moving forward. What that is and how that moves, and we've got biogas and we've got a whole range of other things in there now. So it's a really different mix. But the one thing that we can be sure about is that it will still be part of that mix moving forward for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so when we do get into our UEG review, these are some of the things in those bubbles that we're going to be looking at. What's our next slide there, Rach? Yeah, so some of those questions that I mentioned as we go out to our industry is, what are we seeing there? Is there any skill gaps in some of those emerging technologies? As I mentioned, the package was reviewed 4 years or so ago, but our industry's moved pretty quickly. So there is new technologies out there, and we've mentioned biofuels and biogases. They do fit into this space, and maybe it is a few more skill sets. We mentioned as well that hydrogen skill set is quite well. It is used. We do have 90 or so, enrollments in that. And, some of the other JSCs do look to those skill sets and import those units into their qualifications as well. So maybe we do look at some more of that skill set, looking at what are those gaps, what are those knowledge gaps, and what are those skills gaps. Technology changes. But as I said, PSO will look to see, what bodies that we can look at to speak to. But we'll need to reach out to our wider network in the industry to find out who else can be there.
There's a lot of information in those qualifications, and if you look at that, I think the Cert 3 has got 10 or 11 core units. But if you look at the electives, it's like 130 something units just lying there dormant. So I don't think they're ever going to get used. So why do we have so many electives just lying there. It's
Yep.
That doesn't seem to serve a purpose.
No, and that's a good point, Jux, as well. That as we've been going through our UEE, we've really been diving into those electives and looking to see, what's suitable. But it's also based on those, those analysis that we do early on as well to find out. So you're doing a Cert 3. What is the job outcome here? And what do you need, what do you need in the way of learning to be able to undertake that job? So, yeah, I can only assume that when they were going through it, they found some relevancy for all those elective choices. But yeah, it does make you wonder and they're from very wide and far training packages as well when you have a bit of a look there. So yeah. Just a bit of a plug. We always like a plug at PSO, but no, our workforce planning and look, when we talk about energy, I mean, take this out to your networks as well, because we will be looking at gas within this. This is not just electricity, electro technology. When we come to our energy workforce, so we want to get this out wide and far to all those groups that we're talking about, including gas, and there'll be sections of gas within this in our workforce scan when it comes out as well. So yeah, please send that far and wide to your networks as well. Well, here's the big one, open to the floor. No. Look, yeah, I think it's a matter of us going away and coming up with a plan.
Yeah.
That's probably the crust of it here. Diving into the networks, and PSO will guide that with the help of our industry engagement team as well.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and our fantastic sentiment survey. How did we go today?
You did
If I
great.
can get PSO to fill that out, we'll be on a winner.
The chairs said you did awesome. And Jake's.
Yeah.
And Sarah,
No
we got
worries,
Sarah
Paul.
in there too. Good on you, Sarah.
Sarah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
keeping my ear in case something comes up that we need to let our other CEPU members know about.
Have you got any thoughts? I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, Sarah.
Yeah,
But you got
go
any
for it,
thoughts?
mate. Put me on
Got
the
any
spot.
thoughts about the gas and how you see it, where you see it? Is there any stakeholders or someone that we might not have mentioned or anything that you can
I
think of?
like from our point of view, because obviously, as you're aware, Phil, others may
Yeah.
not be, but I work for the ETU, but I work for our national office, which is CEPU, Communications, Electrical, Plumbing, and there's a whole big other long name involved in it.
Yeah.
So, I can get in contact with some of our colleagues over at the Plumbers Union if that's helpful.
Yeah, I think that'd be
reach out to
great.
a few of them if you wanted to, if there's anything that I can send them or whatever, that's probably the best way to do it.
Yep.
I know that you will get some buy-in from some of them probably at some stage, but
yeah,
that's sort of the only reason I jumped in today, because I figured they wouldn't be here, and
yeah,
it's someone from the CEPU needs to be here.
yeah.
We
No,
had,
I think
we
that's a
had
good point.
Gary and Justin on our list early in the days, but I don't think from Queensland, I don't think we had anyone sort of to attend. We had Kent Vickers. He just was an apology for today from MPAQ as well. Here's an apology to us from our IRG. I think it's just timing too, and maybe just like I said, like a strategy. If you want the ITABs to really get behind it, I feel like gas might be the one time you need your ITABs to really push the invites, maybe.
Yeah,
and and then
The
just let
iPads.
us try and get that uptake, and then PSO can come in and really harbour those relationships. So like I said in our previous meeting, we're so happy to support this and try and get the information out there. It's just a timing thing, whereas a lot of people couldn't make it with the late notice for this week. So yeah, let's look at the strategy in terms of when we get information out and when the next meeting is, and how we can get our national ITABs sort of working with you to do that work for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. The ITABs would probably be a great place to build the community around the UEP. If it's not being used a whole heap, that's a whole different sort of issue.
All right, so we do have another UEG tag scheduled for August. So I think we've got some good takeaways from this meeting, is to go out, get those members, recruit. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I think I'll work in with Nigel and Jess and the team to come up with a bit of a strategy, bit of a plan, analysis, survey, whatever we want to really call it, where we can increase that membership and find out some who's, whys, where's, when's, what's going on in that UEG space. Yeah,
that'd be great.
Awesome.
All right, well, we won't hold you up. I know everyone's busy, and we get some time back in our day, but thank you very much for coming along today.
Thank you.
Really look forward to it. I think we can really grow. So
thanks guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks all.
We'll see you later.
See you all later.